to see those missiles launched by Iran that were sent over to that region. And it was launched over the city of Tel Aviv. So this is what the Israeli military said. They knew that Iran had fired missiles there at Israel, and air raid sirens sounded all across the country as those residents were ordered to remain close to bomb shelters, eventually ordered to go into those bomb shelters. Israel and the United States warned that there would be severe consequences if Iran attacks. And so we're still waiting to hear the latest out here from our officials as well. I'm going to pull up on your screen now just a live look that we have there at the White House as we're still waiting for this briefing to get underway. It was scheduled to start about an hour ago, but we're still, again, waiting at this time for it to get underway and hear the latest comments from the White House as well as the State Department. So when either of these briefings start, we're going to bring them right to you here on Live Now from Fox. And in the meantime, I also do want to pull up a few tweets just so you can know that the president is aware of the situation. So this was tweeted out by the presidential secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre. She says that the President Biden and VP Kamala Harris convened 2 meetings with their national security team in the White House Situation Room today and are receiving updates, regular updates. The president did direct the U.S. military to aid Israel's defense against Iranian attacks and shoot down missiles targeting Israel. They also reviewed preparations to protect U.S. personnel there in the region. Very important that they are letting us know that they're at the top of the country. They are looking out for Israel as well. That's the only response that we have for them at this time. So let's also take a look here. This is a tweet there from Donald Trump. This is what was posted on his Truth Social site. He says, "This war was totally preventable. It should not have ever happened. If I were president, it would not have happened." Of course, that was Donald Trump there via his Truth Social site. And we do have a more complete statement from Donald Trump as well that we're going to bring to you. He says in full, this is a statement that was released on this an imminent attack that he said, so that the world is on fire and spiraling out of control. We have no leadership, no one running the country. We have a non-existent president in Joe Biden and a complete absent vice president, Kamala Harris, who is too busy fundraising in San Francisco, a city that she and Gavin Newsom totally destroyed, staging fake photo ops. No one is in charge and not even clear who is more confused, Biden or Kamala. Neither has any idea of what is going on. So that's just a snippet of his statement that he also put out on True Social, talking about the latest there in the region. So we're going to continue again to monitor the latest there from some of our leaders across the country as they are getting us information from the region there. So again, a live look there inside of the White House as we're waiting for that briefing to start. But in the meantime, I also do want to pull in our next guest to the conversation here on Live Now from Fox. So again, as we're tracking this very developing situation, getting different viewpoints is going to be important here. I want to bring in David Siegel. He is the U.S. Advocacy Group for the U.S. and Israel-European Relations. David, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. I have to ask you, what was your first response to hearing that Iran had sent out this missile barrage towards Israel?
Well, on the one hand, it's not surprising because we've seen this before in April. Israel's been dealing, as we all know, with the ring of fire that Iran has encircled Israel with on 7 fronts. Israeli troops are now operating in southern Lebanon, beyond the Israeli border. I think it's just incredible, the infrastructure that was there. Hezbollah was planning to occupy northern Israel, and by some miracle, Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th without Hezbollah joining them from the north. Evidently, they were surprised in the north, and had both sides attacked Israel at the same time, Israel would have been in probably the worst crisis in its history. So we're looking at multiple fronts, but they all emanate from Iran. And this is an opportunity to remember that Israel isn't in this alone. The United States is there. There's an international coalition. Iran is a threat not only to Israel, but to the entire Middle East, and not only the entire Middle East, but to Europe too, because they're behind Russian aggression. So there's a global regional an Israel-specific element here, and Israel is going to respond and respond very forcefully to this attack.
And we do know, like you said, that Israel there in that region is surrounded by people who are funded by Iran, including Hezbollah and Hamas, some of the terror attacks that happened earlier. So can you sort of speak to now what Israel's maybe mindset may be going forward as they're now entrenched in this battle in the region against multiple different agencies?
Well, so this attack really is unprecedented. It's the largest missile attack in Israel's history. 181 ballistic missiles were fired from Iran and covered all of Israel. Multiple attacks focus on the Dimona nuclear site in southern Israel and other strategic sites in the country. I think the message from Iran is clear, and the message from Israel will be even more clear. The response will be unprecedented. It could be in various parts of the Middle East in any one of those 7 fronts. And certainly Iran will understand that it's not in its interest to attack Israel ever again. And if they didn't get the message until now, they're about to receive it.
What do you think about the U.S. now response and other countries there in Europe as well to these latest attacks? Of course, we did just hear from the president and Vice President Kamala Harris saying that they're being briefed in a room, and of course that they did order the U.S. military to help out Israel in this situation. But what is the further response going forward going to look like over the next few days, months, and I guess until this conflict comes to an end?
Well, it's an important question. Iran here attacked not only Israel, but also defied the United States and the West, because Iran was told very, very clearly by multiple countries not to do this, and they did it anyway. So Israel is part of a coalition. That coalition obviously is led by the United States, but it includes very important European countries. In April, we saw both the air forces of the UK and France operating out of various locations in Europe and in the Middle East, including the Abraham Accord countries and Gulf countries that were participating either actively or indirectly through early warning systems that are placed there. So this really is a coalition effort, and I expect that we'll see that coalition operate together again, and was probably behind this very successful defense. I mean, think about it, 181 rockets fired at Israel, missiles from Iran, just over 2 hours ago. No one wounded in Israel significantly. Those rockets were mostly intercepted at very, very high rates. The actual ratio is classified right now, but it will probably come out later. So this was a complete failure on the part of Iran again, after the other failures that we've seen, in the order. The balance in the Middle East that is a threat not just to Israel, to Lebanon, and to other countries, but to the world at large.
And as we were watching some of that video that was put out there on Twitter as well, you could see those bombs streaming across the sky, of course, being intercepted, as you said, most of them at a very high rate. But can you sort of speak to the strength there of
that just about all of those rockets were Israel's ability to defend itself together with the United States and other members of the coalition. This is really a tremendous success, but the challenges are still before us. Iran is an enormous country. Iran has more capabilities, so does Hezbollah. Although they've been delivered a series of very significant setbacks by Israel, including taking out their entire senior leadership. They're still there. They're still dangerous. And this is why the calls for ceasefires, de-escalation is just a complete misunderstanding of what needs to be done. Israel now has the momentum. Iran and its proxies are on the defensive, and in fact, they're desperate, and they're making strategic mistakes because they're provoking the United States of America, an international coalition, and a very, very strong Israel that after October 7th, and this weekend is the year anniversary, after October 7th is a very different country. Israel's not going to tolerate having genocidal terrorist organizations situated on its borders anymore. So it's going to be an effort. It's going to be a very dangerous and painful process, but it's a process that has to be seen through in order to reorder the strategic balance in the Middle East.
And I do want to pull up there on your screen, if you're looking at home, raw footage there. This is put up by the Israel Defense Forces showing Iranian missiles rain over the old city in Jerusalem, a holy site for Muslims, Christians, and Jews. This is the largest target of the Iranian regime. Everyone. Of course, this is according to the IDF, a statement that they put out on the platform X, Twitter, also known as that. But what is your thoughts when you see this, pointing out the fact that some of these missiles were over the holy city there in Jerusalem? Again, a very important site for Muslims, Christians, and Jews, for all of those three Abrahamic religions. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, this is the great irony. Iran and all these terror groups claim that they're defending Jerusalem, and here they are attacking it. And actually, some rockets did fall on the West Bank. And tragically, I understand that one Palestinian reportedly was killed in Jericho. So they're just firing indiscriminately. And remember that Israel, and certainly in northern Israel, there are many minorities, Arab, Muslim, Druze, minorities as well, and they're all being attacked. I would remind our audience that throughout the Middle East, there are celebrations, not because Israel's being attacked, but because Iran, its proxies, Hezbollah, which is hated in the Sunni world because of their participation in the Syrian civil war and the slaughter of hundreds of thousands of Sunni Syrians over the last decade. This is what they're responsible for. So these really are forces of evil and extremism that have to be uprooted. And Israel is going to continue to make sure that its country is defended, that its people are defended. And together with an international coalition, we'd like to see a different Middle East, a changed Middle East that won't be a threat to the region and to the world.
Absolutely. And before I let you